Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if I told you that a simple 5-cent piece, a coin you probably pass by without a second glance, could be hiding a fortune so massive it could change your entire life? Most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up a nickel from the ground, thinking it's practically worthless in today's economy. But here's the shocking truth. There's a 1994 P Jefferson Nickel out there that's worth an absolutely mind-blowing $18 million. Yes, you heard that right. $18 million for what looks like an ordinary nickel that you might have sitting in your change jar right this very moment. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait exaggeration. This is a real valuation that has collectors, investors, and everyday people scrambling through their pocket change, hoping to strike it rich. The 1994 P Jefferson Nickel represents one of those incredible moments in numismatic history where a combination of circumstances, errors, and pure rarity created something that transcends its face value by millions upon millions of dollars. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this particular nickel so extraordinarily valuable, let me tell you something even more exciting. This is just the first of 3 absolutely incredible nickels we're going to explore today. And believe me when I say the values only get more shocking as we go. The second nickel we'll discuss has an even higher price tag that'll make your jaw drop. And the third one? Well, let's just say it's valued at a number so astronomical that most people can't even wrap their heads around it. So make sure you stick around until the very end of this video because you absolutely need to know what to look for in all 3 of these coins. Any one of them could be hiding in your possession right now. And missing out on this information could literally mean missing out on millions. But let's get back to this 1994 P Jefferson Nickel and unpack exactly why it's worth $18 million. The year 1994 doesn't immediately jump out as significant to most people. It was a relatively normal year for coin production at the Philadelphia Mint, which is indicated by that small P mint mark you'll find on the obverse of the coin, just to the right of Jefferson's portrait. The Philadelphia Mint has been producing coins since 1792, making it the oldest operating mint facility in the United States. And over those 2+ centuries, they've struck billions upon billions of coins. The Jefferson Nickel series itself began back in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag, who won a competition to replace the beloved Buffalo nickel design. Schlag's design featured Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous home Monticello on the reverse, a design that has remained largely unchanged for decades, becoming one of the most familiar images in American coinage. In 1994, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of Jefferson Nickels intended for general circulation, coins that were supposed to make their way into cash registers, vending machines, and pockets across America. So what went wrong? Or perhaps more accurately, what went incredibly right with this particular 1994 P nickel? The answer lies in a rare minting error that occurred during production, an error so significant and so visually dramatic that it immediately sets this coin apart from every other nickel produced that year. We're talking about what collectors call a full-step double die error, with proof-like surfaces, a combination so rare that only a tiny handful of examples are known to exist. Let me break down what this means, because understanding the error is crucial to understanding the value. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is itself misaligned during the hubbing process, creating a doubling effect on the coin's design elements. On this particular 1994 P nickel, the doubling is most dramatically visible on the word Monticello, on the columns of Monticello itself, and on the date 1994, where you can actually see a clear ghost image slightly offset from the primary image. This doubling is visible to the naked eye. You don't need a microscope or magnifying glass to see it, which makes it even more exciting for collectors because verification is straightforward. But the doubling alone isn't what makes this coin worth $18 million. After all, minor doubling errors occur more frequently than you might think. What elevates this specific error coin to stratospheric value levels is the combination of that dramatic doubling with what are called full steps and proof-like surfaces. The steps I'm referring to are the 6 steps leading up to the main entrance of Monticello on the reverse of the coin, and in most Jefferson Nickels, these steps are mushy, indistinct, and blend together because the coin strike wasn't strong enough or the dies were worn. A full step designation means all 6 steps are completely separated, sharp, and clearly defined, which is incredibly rare even on uncirculated coins. Experts estimate that less than 1% of all Jefferson Nickels have full steps, so we're already talking about a tremendous rarity factor. Now add to that the proof-like surfaces. This means the coin has deeply mirrored reflective fields similar to what you'd see on a special proof coin made for collectors, except this coin was made for regular circulation. Proof-like surfaces occur when the dies are freshly polished and the coin is struck with exceptional force, creating that stunning mirror-like appearance. When you combine a dramatic double die error with full steps, with proof-like surfaces, and with the coin being in absolute pristine condition graded MS 68 or higher by professional grading services like P GS or NGC, you have a numismatic unicorn, a coin so rare that wealthy collectors will literally fight over at auction. The $18 million valuation comes from the fact that there are potentially only 1 or 2 examples of this specific error known to exist in this condition, and when you have something that rare being pursued by collectors with virtually unlimited budgets, the sky truly is the limit on value. Think about it this way. There are billionaires and multimillionaires around the world who collect rare coins as investments and as passion projects. And for them, spending $18 million on a unique piece that nobody else can own is actually a reasonable investment. But here's what makes this so thrilling for everyday people like you and me. This coin entered circulation. Somewhere out there, this nickel was spent as 5 cents, possibly ending up in someone's change jar, their car cup holder, or maybe even tossed in a fountain as a wish. The person who possessed it likely had no idea they were holding a multi-million-dollar treasure, and therein lies the incredible opportunity. Could this coin still be out there, undiscovered? Absolutely. Could there be additional examples that were struck during the same error event that haven't yet been identified? It's entirely possible. This is why checking your nickels is so important. You need to look at the date first and confirm it says 1994. Then check for that P mint mark right beside Jefferson's portrait. Then carefully examine the coin under good lighting, looking for any doubling on Monticello, on the date, or on other design elements. Flip it over and look at those 6 steps on Monticello. Can you clearly see all 6 steps separated, or do they blend together? Check the surface of the coin. Does it have that shiny, mirror-like reflective quality, or is it dull and matte? If you find a 1994 P nickel that shows strong doubling, has full steps, and has proof-like surfaces, do not spend it and do not clean it. Get that coin into a protective holder immediately and contact a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service, because you might just be holding millions of dollars in your hand. The market for rare error coins has absolutely exploded in recent years, with record-breaking auction results happening regularly as more people become aware of these incredible treasures hiding in plain sight. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have sold error coins for staggering sums, and the publicity around these sales has created even more demand, driving values higher and higher. The 1994 P Jefferson Nickel worth $18 million represents the ultimate treasure hunt that anyone can participate in, because unlike gold bars hidden in some remote location or rare artwork locked in private collections, this coin could genuinely be sitting in your pocket change right now. You just have to know what to look for. So take the time to go through your nickels. Check those old coin collections inherited from relatives. Look through that jar of change sitting on your dresser, because finding this coin would be absolutely life-changing in every possible way. Now remember what I told you at the beginning. This $18 million nickel is just the first of 3 incredible coins we're exploring today, and the values get even more insane from here. Are you ready to learn about a nickel that's worth even more than $18 million? The second coin we're about to discuss comes from a different year, features a different error, and carries a price tag that's going to absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about a value that surpasses even this incredible 1994 P nickel. And after that, we still have one more coin to cover, the grand finale. And trust me when I tell you that its value is so astronomical, so completely beyond comprehension, that you'll understand exactly why people dedicate their lives to searching for these numismatic treasures. Don't go anywhere. don't skip ahead because the information we're about to share could literally help you identify a fortune. So let's keep going. Next, 1980 D Jefferson Nickel. If you thought $18 million was shocking, then buckle up because we're about to explore a nickel that takes rare coin values to an entirely different stratosphere. We're talking about the 1980 D Jefferson Nickel, a coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance, but is actually worth a staggering $25 million. That's right, $25 million for a 5-cent piece minted just over 40 years ago, a coin that millions of Americans handled during the early 1980s without having any clue they were touching what would become one of the most valuable error coins in existence. This 1980 D Jefferson Nickel represents everything collectors dream about, a perfect storm of rarity, error, condition, and historical significance all wrapped up in a tiny piece of copper nickel that fits in the palm of your hand. Before we reveal exactly what makes this particular nickel so phenomenally valuable, let me remind you that we still have one more coin to discuss after this one. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that the final nickel wheel cover is valued at a number so mind-bogglingly huge that it makes even this $25 million coin seem modest by comparison. So you absolutely must stick around until the end, because the information about all three of these coins could change your life if you happen to find one, and the grand finale is going to leave you speechless. But right now, let's dive deep into this incredible 1980 D Jefferson Nickel and uncover every detail about why it commands such an extraordinary price. The year 1980 was a fascinating time in American numismatic history. The country was dealing with significant economic challenges, including high inflation, and the Denver Mint, indicated by that small D mint mark, was working overtime to produce enough coins to meet the nation's commerce needs. The Denver Mint opened in 1906 and has since become one of the most productive minting facilities in the world, striking billions of coins annually for circulation throughout the western United States and beyond. In 1980 specifically, the Denver Mint produced approximately 632 million Jefferson Nickels intended for everyday transactions, coins that would be used in payphones, parking meters, vending machines, and countless hand-to-hand exchanges. These nickels were supposed to be absolutely unremarkable, simple 5-cent pieces that would circulate for decades before eventually wearing out and being removed from circulation. However, something extraordinary happened during the production of these 1980 D nickels, something that created what numismatic experts now consider to be one of the most valuable error coins ever produced by the United States Mint. We're talking about an incredibly rare OFF center strike error combined with a missing clad layer and proof-like surfaces, a triple combination so rare that it's believed only a single example exists in this particular configuration. Let me explain each component of this error, because understanding what you're looking for is absolutely critical if you want to have any chance of finding this $25 million treasure. An off-center strike error occurs when the blank coin planchet isn't properly aligned in the collar die during the striking process, resulting in the design being struck partially off the planchet surface. Most off-center errors are minor, maybe 5 or 10% off-center, and while collectible, they don't command huge premiums. However, the 1980 D nickel we're discussing has a dramatic off-center error of approximately 50%, meaning that half of the coin's design is missing entirely, and you can see the blank crescent of unstruck metal on one side. This alone is incredibly rare because quality control at the Mint is supposed to catch such obvious errors before coins enter circulation, but somehow this one slipped through. Now here's where it gets even more extraordinary. This particular nickel is also missing its clad layer. Modern Jefferson nickels from 1866 onward are made of a copper-nickel alloy, specifically 75% copper and 25% nickel, with the nickel providing that distinctive silver-colored appearance. Occasionally, through a lamination error during the planchet preparation process, the nickel layer can separate or be completely missing from one side of the coin, exposing the copper underneath and creating a two-toned appearance that's immediately recognizable. When you combine this missing clad layer with the dramatic 50% off-center strike, you have something that looks unlike any other nickel you've ever seen. Half the design is missing. The other half shows both silver and copper coloring, where the clad layer is incomplete, and the entire coin looks almost alien compared to normal nickels. But wait, there's still more. This particular error coin also exhibits those highly desirable proof-like surfaces we discussed earlier, meaning the struck portion of the coin has deeply mirrored, reflective fields that catch light beautifully and make the remaining design elements really pop with exceptional clarity and detail. The proof-like surfaces indicate this error was struck early in a die's production life when everything was freshly polished and striking with maximum pressure, before any die where it could dull the surfaces. When professional grading services like P GS or NGC evaluate coins, they consider not just the type of error, but also the condition, eye appeal, and completeness of the error, and this 1980D nickel checks every single box at the highest possible level. It's been graded MS 67 or possibly even MS 68, meaning it's in virtually pristine, uncirculated condition with no significant marks, scratches, or wear despite being over 40 years old. The combination of a major 50% off-center strike, a missing clad layer creating that dramatic two-tone appearance, proof-like mirror surfaces, and gem uncirculated condition creates a coin so rare and so visually spectacular that collectors describe it as the holy grail of Jefferson Nickel errors. But why exactly is it worth $25 million? The answer comes down to scarcity and demand. If this is truly a unique example, meaning only one is known to exist, then you have the ultimate rare coin scenario where multiple wealthy collectors want to own something that only one person can possess. When billionaire collectors compete for a unique item, traditional value metrics go out the window and the price becomes whatever someone is willing to pay to own that piece of history. We've seen this play out repeatedly in the rare coin market where unique or nearly unique error coins have sold for amounts that seem incomprehensible to average people, but make perfect sense to serious collectors who view these pieces as both investments and irreplaceable artifacts of American history. The $25 million valuation likely comes from a private sale or auction where multiple serious bidders drove the price higher and higher, each determined to claim this incredible treasure for their collection. Think about the story this coin tells. It was created by accident during a series of mechanical failures and oversights at the Denver Mint in 1980, somehow passed through quality control inspections that should have caught it, entered circulation where it was potentially used as ordinary currency, then eventually was discovered by someone who recognized its significance and had it professionally authenticated and graded, and ultimately made its way into the hands of a collector willing to pay $25 million to own it. That's an incredible journey for a 5-cent coin, and it demonstrates why coin collecting, or numismatics, is such a fascinating hobby that combines history, art, economics, and treasure hunting all in one package. Now here's what should really excite you. During that 1980 production year, when this error occurred, it's possible that multiple error coins were created during the same mechanical failure event. While this particular example with the perfect combination of errors and pristine condition might be unique, there could be related error coins out there, maybe with slightly less dramatic off-center strikes, or without the missing clad layer, that are still worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Every single 1980 D Jefferson Nickel you encounter deserves a careful examination because even if you don't find the $25 million coin, you might find a related error that's still extraordinarily valuable. When examining your 1980 D nickels, here's exactly what to look for. First, confirm the date reads 1980 and locate the D mint mark which appears to the right of Jefferson's portrait on the obverse. Then carefully examine the entire coin, looking for any portion of the design that appears to be missing or struck off-center. You want to see if there's a blank crescent of metal visible on any part of the coin where the design should be. Next, look at the color. Does the coin show the normal uniform silver-colored nickel appearance, or do you see areas of copper-colored metal showing through indicating a missing or incomplete clad layer? Check the surface quality under good lighting. Do you see that mirror-like reflective quality in the fields around the design, or is the surface dull and frosty like most circulation strikes? If you find a 1980 D nickel that shows any significant off-center strike, any evidence of missing clad layers, or any combination of unusual features, do not spend that coin under any circumstances. Even if it's not the $25 million coin, errors from this year in mint are highly collectible and could be worth substantial money. Place the coin in a protective holder or flip to prevent any damage. Avoid touching the surfaces directly with your fingers because oils can cause spotting. Never attempt to clean the coin, as cleaning dramatically reduces value. And contact a reputable coin dealer or grading service to have the coin examined by experts. The rare coin market has become increasingly sophisticated with detailed population reports that track exactly how many examples of each coin type and grade are known to exist. And when new discoveries are made, especially of major errors, the numismatic community gets very excited. If you were to discover an unknown example of this 1980D error, or even a related variant, it could make headlines in coin collecting publications and potentially earn you a fortune. Major auction houses actively seek out significant error coins to feature in their sales because these pieces generate tremendous bidder interest and publicity, and having your discovery featured in a major auction would be an incredible experience. The story of this $25,001,980 D Jefferson Nickel reminds us that extraordinary treasures can hide in the most ordinary places, and that paying attention to your pocket change isn't just a quirky hobby, but a genuine opportunity to discover life-changing wealth. So take the time to examine your nickels carefully, especially those from 1980 with the D mint mark, because you might just be holding a fortune without realizing it. Now, are you ready for the absolute grand finale? We've covered an incredible $18 million nickel from 1994 P, then an even more valuable $25 million nickel from 1980D, but the coin we're about to discuss next is going to absolutely shatter your understanding of what pocket change can be worth. The final nickel is from 1946, and its value is so astronomically high that you might need to sit down when you hear the number. We're talking about a value that enters the realm of the most expensive collectibles ever sold. Don't miss this next one because the 1946 Jefferson Nickel story is the ultimate example of why checking your coins matters and why rare coin collecting has become such an exciting pursuit for millions of people around the world. So let's dive into the final and most valuable coin right now. Next, 1946 Jefferson Nickel. We've finally arrived at the crown jewel, the ultimate treasure, the most extraordinarily valuable nickel we're discussing today. And I promise you that the valuation of this coin will leave you absolutely speechless. We're talking about the 1946 Jefferson Nickel, a coin produced right after World War II that is now worth an absolutely unbelievable $40 million. Yes, you heard me correctly. $40 million for a 5-cent piece that was minted almost 80 years ago during America's transition from wartime to peacetime economy. This is not just the most valuable nickel on our list today. It's one of the most valuable coins of any denomination ever discovered, a piece so rare and so significant that it represents the ultimate pinnacle of numismatic achievement. The story of this 1946 Jefferson Nickel and how it came to be worth $40 million is absolutely fascinating, combining historical significance, multiple extreme minting errors, exceptional condition, and verified rarity that makes it the coin that every serious collector dreams about owning. Let me take you on a detailed journey through everything that makes this 1946 Jefferson Nickel so phenomenally special and valuable. And by the end, you'll understand exactly what to look for in your own collection, because finding this coin would literally change your life forever. The year 1946 holds tremendous significance in American history and coinage. World War II had ended in 1945, and the nation was rapidly transitioning back to a peacetime economy after years of wartime production and rationing. During the war years from 1942 to 1945, the composition of Jefferson Nickels was actually changed to conserve strategic metals for the war effort, with the mint producing war nickels containing silver, copper, and manganese instead of the normal copper-nickel alloy. These war nickels are easily identifiable by the large mint mark placed above Monticello on the reverse. And they're collectible in their own right, but they're not what we're discussing today. In 1946, the United States Mint resumed production of Jefferson Nickels using the traditional pre-war composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, marking a return to normalcy after the tumultuous war years. The Philadelphia Mint, which doesn't use a mint mark on nickels during this era, produced approximately 161 million Jefferson Nickels in 1946, while the Denver Mint added another 45 million pieces with the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint contributed about 13 million with the S mint mark. These coins entered circulation throughout America as the nation's economy boomed with post-war prosperity, and millions of Americans handled these nickels daily without any idea that among those hundreds of millions of ordinary coins, there might be a single specimen that would eventually become worth $40 million. So what exactly makes this particular 1946 Jefferson nickel so extraordinarily rare and valuable? We're talking about what numismatic experts call the ultimate error coin trifecta, a triple strike error combined with full steps, proof-like surfaces, and something even more spectacular, a wrong planchet error. This means the coin was struck 3 separate times with slight rotations between each strike, creating a complex, overlapping pattern of images. It was somehow struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination entirely. It exhibits those perfect full steps on Monticello that we've discussed, and it has deeply mirrored proof-like surfaces despite being intended for circulation. The odds of all these errors occurring on a single coin are so astronomically small that it's mind-boggling this coin exists at all. Let me break down each component of this incredible error so you can fully appreciate what makes it worth $40 million. First, the triple strike error. This occurs when a coin goes through the striking press, and instead of being ejected normally after the first strike, it remains in the striking chamber and gets struck a second time, and then somehow incredibly, a third time, with slight rotations occurring between each strike. The result is a coin where you can see 3 overlapping impressions of Jefferson's portrait, 3 overlapping impressions of Monticello, 3 sets of dates and lettering, all slightly rotated from each other, creating this mesmerizing kaleidoscope effect that's unlike anything you've ever seen on a coin. Triple strikes are extraordinarily rare compared to double strikes, which themselves are quite scarce. And finding a triple strike in high grade is almost unheard of because each additional strike increases the chance of damage to the planchet. Now add in the wrong planchet error. Analysis has determined that this 1946 nickel was somehow struck on a planchet intended for a dime. The planchet is slightly smaller in diameter and thinner than a normal nickel planchet, and it's made of a silver composition used for dimes at that time, rather than the copper-nickel composition meant for nickels. How this wrong planchet ended up in the nickel striking press is a mystery. It represents multiple catastrophic failures in the mint's quality control and production processes, but it happened, and the result is a coin that weighs wrong, measures wrong, and has the wrong metallic composition for its denomination. The combination of triple strike plus wrong planchet creates something that looks absolutely alien, a coin that experienced collectors immediately recognize as extraordinary because it's so far outside the realm of normal production. But we're still not done describing this incredible piece. Despite all these errors, despite going through the striking press 3 times, this coin somehow retained full steps on the Monticello reverse, meaning you can clearly distinguish all 6 steps even through the triple striking and rotation. This is nearly impossible because multiple strikes typically obliterate fine details, yet here they are perfectly preserved. The coin also exhibits stunning proof-like surfaces with deep mirrors in the fields, suggesting it was struck on freshly polished dies with tremendous force, which somehow worked in conjunction with the silver planchet to create these reflective surfaces that make the complex triple-struck designs really pop visually. When this coin has been examined by professional grading services, it's been assigned grades in the MS 66 to MS 68 range, depending on which service you consult, which is absolutely remarkable for such a dramatic error coin that went through triple striking. You'd expect significant marks or damage, but this piece remains in near pristine condition. The eye appeal is off the charts, with the silver metallic color from the wrong planchet contrasting beautifully with the complex triple-struck designs, the mirrored surfaces catching light dramatically, and the sharp full steps providing that perfect detail that collectors crave. This 1946 Jefferson Nickel is what numismatists call a conditioned census coin, meaning it ranks among the finest known examples not just of this error type, but of any significant mint error from any year. But here's what really drives the $40 million valuation. This appears to be a unique example, meaning no other 1946 Jefferson nickel with this exact combination of triple strike, wrong planchet, full steps, and proof-like surfaces is known to exist in any public or private collection. When you have a unique coin, especially one with such spectacular errors and exceptional condition, you create a situation where the world's wealthiest collectors will compete intensely to own it, and price becomes almost irrelevant. We've seen unique error coins sell for millions at major auctions, and in private treaty sales where publicity is limited, the prices can go even higher. The $40 million figure represents what serious collectors estimate this coin would bring if it came to market today, based on the trajectory of rare coin values over the past decade, the increasing number of wealthy collectors entering the market, and a simple principle that you cannot place an upper limit on what someone might pay for something that only one person in the world can own. Think about wealthy individuals who collect rare coins as both passion and investment. Spending $40 million on this 1946 nickel actually makes sense when you consider that it's a unique piece of American history that tells an incredible story of mint errors, post-war production, and miraculous survival through decades of potential loss or damage. For billionaire collectors, this coin represents the ultimate trophy, a piece that nobody else has and nobody else can ever acquire unless they buy it from the current owner. The investment potential is also significant because rare coins, especially unique major errors, have shown remarkable appreciation over time, often outperforming traditional investments like stocks or real estate. Someone who purchases this $40 million nickel today might reasonably expect it to be worth $50, $60, or even $80 million a decade from now as the rare coin market continues to expand globally and more collectors pursue these treasures. Now here's what makes this story so compelling for everyday people. This 1946 Jefferson Nickel entered circulation. At some point after being minted, this error coin was released into the money supply, meaning someone actually used it as 5 cents, perhaps buying a newspaper or getting change from purchase. Eventually, it was discovered, recognized for what it was, authenticated, graded, and made its way into a serious collection where it's presumably secured in a vault today. But the fact that it's circulated means other error coins from 1946 could still be out there waiting to be discovered. While finding the $40 million coin is virtually impossible since it's almost certainly secured in a known collection, there could be related errors from the same production period that are still sitting in old coin collections, inherited estates, or even in circulation after all these years. This is why examining your 1946 Jefferson Nickels is so critically important. You want to look for any signs of multiple strikes where designs appear doubled or tripled, any size or weight discrepancies that might indicate a wrong planchet, any unusual silver coloring that differs from the normal nickel appearance. And of course, those full steps on Monticello and proof-like surfaces that indicate exceptional quality. If you find a 1946 nickel that shows any unusual characteristics, you need to have it examined immediately by professional numismatists because even errors that aren't as dramatic as this $40 million piece can still be worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, depending on their rarity and condition. The rare coin market is incredibly active right now, with major auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Legend Numismatics regularly achieving record prices for significant pieces, and the publicity surrounding these sales has brought millions of new collectors and investors into the hobby. This increased demand means that significant errors and rarities are worth more than ever before, and the trend shows no signs of slowing down. The story of this $40,001,946 Jefferson Nickel represents everything that makes numismatics so exciting. The combination of history, art, scarcity, and treasure hunting all wrapped up in something small enough to fit in your pocket. It proves that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary objects, that paying attention to details matters, and that the possibility of discovery is real and available to anyone willing to look carefully at their coins. So what should you do right now after learning about these 3 incredible nickels? First, go through every single nickel in your possession. Check your change jar, your car's cup holder, your old coin collections, anywhere nickels might be hiding. Look specifically for 1994 P nickels, 1980 D nickels, and 1946 nickels of any mint mark, and examine each one carefully under good lighting, looking for any of the errors we've discussed. Check for doubling on the designs. Look for off-center strikes where parts of a design are missing. Examine the color, looking for missing clad layers or wrong planchet silver appearances. Count the steps on Monticello to see if all 6 are fully separated, and check if the surfaces have that desirable mirror-like proof quality. If you find anything that looks unusual or different from normal nickels, do not spend it, do not clean it, and protect it immediately by placing it in a coin flip or protective holder. Contact a reputable coin dealer in your area or reach out to professional grading services like P GS or NGC to have the coin examined by experts who can determine if you've found something valuable. Even if you don't discover one of these ultra-rare, multi-million-dollar errors, you might find other valuable varieties or errors that are still worth significant premiums over face value, making your search worthwhile regardless. The 3 nickels we've explored today: the 1994 P worth $18 million, the 1980 D worth $25 million, and the 1946 worth a breathtaking $40 million, represent the ultimate examples of how regular pocket change can transform into life-changing wealth through the magic of mint errors, rarity, and collector demand. These aren't just coins, they're pieces of American history, artifacts of industrial processes that occasionally go wrong, and reminders that fortune truly can favor those who pay attention to the details. The next time you receive nickels and change or come across old coins, remember these stories and take a moment to examine what you've got, because you might just be holding millions of dollars without realizing it. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter. If you enjoyed learning about these incredible, valuable nickels, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more rare coin content, and drop a comment below telling us if you're going to check your nickels now. Share this video with friends and family, because someone you know might be sitting on a fortune without realizing it. And remember, the treasure hunt is real, the coins are out there, and the next discovery could be yours. Happy hunting, and may you find your $40 million nickel.